back to Two Heads, One Heart, where I get to chat with singer-songwriters mainly, but not exclusively, and music industry professionals and lovers of the music business and lovers of songs and songwriters. And it's great to have you with us. If you want to drop into the live chat, please feel free to do so and talk to us as we go. A couple of people joining already. Great to have you with us. I'm just going to open up the live chat and see if anybody is saying hello. But if not, they will be shortly, I'm sure. So my guest tonight is all the way from Texas. He's there beside me on my left, I believe. And his name is Randy Cox. And Happy New Year, Randy. It's very nice to have you here.
Very good to be here. Very good. Thank you for having me, Dahlia.
How did you? We met through this lovely community of YouTube. Tell me a little bit about yourself to begin with, if you wouldn't mind. You're not a singer songwriter, but you're a big fan of guitars, a big fan of songwriters. How did you discover my channel? And let people know. Let's talk about how we met and what the connection is.
You bet. Well, first off, I did not know there was a YouTube community when I got on YouTube, so that was quite interesting to discover that. But I was at one point watching another studio session, and you popped up on the feed on the side, and it was one of the artists that you had on your channel. And as we talked a little bit about earlier, I can't remember her name now, but I clicked on her, and she was just beautiful in every way possible, herself as well as her music and her writing skills. And so that got my attention. And so I clicked on the Rua Room and went to the videos, and I realized that you were doing some great work, and that's how we met, because I remember leaving a comment on a video because I was so impressed.
That was it. That was it. And I was delighted. And I said, then I went to your channel to see all the great work you were doing, and you were talking about guitars. You know, one of my favorite things, as you can see there. I have a few of them here, and you were talking about you have a lot of vintage guitars, and mainly vintage guitars. Is that right? 15 or 16 older type guitars in your collection.
I would say it's probably about 60-40 as far as the vintage goes. The 40% being the vintage. I have moved some guitars over the years, so that number has gone down some, and I've actually honed down to my favorites of the favorites for vintage, and it surprises people sometimes when we talk about what those are, because a lot of folks, when they think of vintage guitars, they'd like to have a 1940 Gibson, right? These are not 1940 Gibsons. So, but yes.
That's really nice. Yeah, I know. And so, what got you into the YouTube and community then? Why suddenly? You know, because you're not really involved in the road. You've been a musician, right? You've been a guitarist to begin with, right? That's your history, is it?
I'm hesitant to say a musician, because I've seen real musicians before. So what I would say is I played in a few bands. I've loved the guitar since I was about 6 or 7 years old. And but I never really, when I was 6 or 7, many of the viewers may not realize this, but there was no internet, and so you didn't have things like YouTube. If you learned, you either took lessons, or you got some paperwork that showed you how to play. I went to a music store and got a deal that showed me how to make chords, and that was it. And I started strumming, and then as time went on, I played in a few bands. But I'm hesitant to say a musician, but I will say I felt like I was a decent rhythm guitarist for the couple of bands that I played in.
Yes.
And but I would also say, Dahi, that I don't feel as though I ever really learned anything about how to play the guitar until the last 4 years. And I am 64 years old now, and been playing since I was probably 8.
Wow.
Would be a good number. So playing is a relative word, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, because you still come across as a competent very competent finger picky style guitarist. To say that you really only took off the last 4 years is quite impressive. Obviously, you've been playing before that, but yeah, to watch your channel and to see you have a very in depth knowledge also about guitars, about the woods, about the playability of guitars, which I love watching. And of course, you do. Was that something that has always been there? The interest. You haven't done any luthery or guitar building or anything like that either. No.
No, and I haven't, and it hasn't always been an interest. I went to a guitar store, probably as many people do, and I got my guitar down, or got a guitar down off the wall, and I played it. And if it sounded okay and it looked pretty or decent, then I would buy the guitar, and that's how I bought guitars. I never gave a thought to woods. I never knew there was such a community of woods when it came to guitars, and what the different sounds were, and what you were trying to do. And then suddenly it began to make sense to me why, when musicians actually go on the road, they take several guitars. It's because of the, what the sounds they're trying to pull out of those instruments for the kind of music or the song that they're playing. That never occurred to
Yes.
me before, you know. So my luthery skills are limited to sanding down a saddle and of some tweaks on a truss rod, and those kinds of things. But I have some very close friends. Well, I say reasonably close friends that are luthiers, and so when you get any more deeper than that, I tend to hand it over to them and go, "Hey, matter of fact, right now I've got a custom guitar that I had built a while back. It from 12th Root Guitars up in Colorado, and I was adjusting something on it, and if you're not a luthier, there are some things you should never touch. And I went a little too deep on something. And so now I'm going to have to take it to a really good luthier and get that
Oh
guitar right,
no.
because it's not cheap, right?
No, that is not a great. When that happens, it's also a bit heart wrenching because it's a custom guitar and it's an expensive thing, and you don't want to. As you said, you can do certain things to a certain level, but yeah, it can go wrong, and that's the danger, right? But
Yes, sir.
speaking of Woods, we have a guy called John Wood, who is a great guitarist and singer
Hi, John.
songwriter in Oslo, Norway.
Yep.
So we have John with us. Lovely to have you with us, John. I keep looking over at my streaming camera instead of the phone. I'm so used to looking over at the at the live stream camera. And we have Kim Dillon down the road as well. Nice to have you with us, guys, in the
Yes, it
chat.
is.
Lovely. So we have
Thank
Oslo, Belgium, Ireland, and Texas. So that's not a bad not a bad
you.
start to our chat. But it's great to have you all with us. So you told me before that you owned a small recording studio for a few years. East Texas Audio, isn't that it?
That was the name of it. It was I had a 34 channel recording board console, and and we mixed all that down to an 8-track, which is where I really learned a lot about what you can do and what you can't do in the recording business. I had a very good friend of mine, Paul Osborne, who still owns, I believe, Audio Dallas, which is a very well known recording studio. He and I worked together early in life, and he is well known in the industry. And he's the one that got me interested in it. So
Uh,
uh, he started in a garage, and I started mine in a den that I had converted into a studio.
yeah.
Learned a lot of hard lessons with that, but I did learn, how music is mixed and the kind of equipment that you actually have to have. And I blew a few channels on the recording board before I learned that lesson.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun, a lot of fun.
Is that something you still dabble in, apart from sort of for your channel? Obviously, you need a little bit of that going on, of course. But do you still record anybody or record yourself or anything?
No, just other than YouTube, no, sir. I've got a 24 channel Tascam over here that I've bought before I got on YouTube. And truth is that's probably going to end up with my son in Kentucky before it's all over with, because I never
Oh,
used it. it's just me and the acoustic guitar. Occasionally, I'll do what you do and interview somebody. A good friend of mine that got me interested in YouTube and suggested I start the channel. I interviewed him on my channel, and he's got quite a rich history with music, and
Yeah.
a wonderful guy. But that's kind of what got me going down the YouTube road, and from there, I learned about all these various communities, and plus,
Yeah.
how do you not enjoy meeting so many wonderful people, right?
Well, that's it. It is a vast and can be a wonderful community, because obviously there's a few trolls out there which we try to avoid and kick off the channel, but that happens. That's part and parcel of the game, right?
Yes, sir.
But as you said, it is a wonderful community. Lovely to be able to meet, just random people like we have, and whether or not you get them involved or not is up to you. But because you were doing such good stuff on your channel, I just thought, wouldn't it be nice to to kind of finish off the chapter and say, okay, well, you're so supportive of what I do here. Let's get you on the channel and have a chat. And I just so I'm delighted you could do it. I know you're a busy man. You spend a lot of time on airplanes, you were saying, and you're up and down, flying around doing stuff. But so it is really good to have you here and to meet you I have a link obviously to your channel below, which people can check. Randy's Rhythm, by the way, is the name of the YouTube channel, folks, and you should really check it out. And if you have other links later on, by the way, we'll put them in if you want to promote anything else. I forgot to ask you that before, but there may be other studios and things that we talk about tonight that you may want to put in, and we can do that, Randy, should you wish to do so. But I was just going to say, so would you have one of your favorites guitars there nearby, near at hand, that we could maybe just
I have
have
one of my favorites nearby. And first of all, before I pull this guitar out, Scott Baxendale is probably one of the most talented luthiers on God's green earth. And what he did, which I think is a ministry almost, is he went back and picked up all these a bunch of these old catalog guitars, and he rebuilt them. So keeping in mind that these were these old catalog guitars like Sears and Roebuck and Montgomery Ward's and some other catalogs as well. They had all these old guitars that they were built in Chicago that were all solid wood for the most part, not all of them, but most of them. And they were built for these catalogs for sale. And when I was a child, I remember getting the Sears and Roebuck catalog down and going, I sure would like to have this for Christmas. You know what I mean? And
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and your parents kind of go, "Can you afford it?" Well, can they afford it? Because I obviously couldn't. I was depending on them. And but Scott, I ran into him just quite by accident on Reverb, and we talked a couple of times. And this was the very first one I picked up, which is an old 1969 Silvertone. Okay,
Wow.
I took the pick guard off because I'm not a pick guard fan, but Scott replaced the keys on it. He cleaned it up. He pulled the back off so that he could rebrace this top with X bracing, his special blend of X bracing. And he replaced the bridge and the pins and the nut and the saddle. That's all bone. And then you pull a sound out of these guitars that just blows the mind. They originally were ladder braced, crossways under the top, and he
Oh,
pulled all
just
that out
oh wow.
and X braced them. And then they go from being turn of the century blues sounding boxy kind of tone, which I like, to an absolute canon because the wood is 60 years old, right? And
Indeed, yes, 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 yes.
yeah. And so, yeah, and you can see Scott's sticker in there. He's now located in Santa Fe. As a matter of fact, my wife and I and some friends went to Santa Fe earlier this year. And I went to Scott's shop and we sat down and visited for quite a long while. I'm a huge fan of that man because he is maybe one of the best known luthiers in the business because of his history
Mm.
with Mossman Guitars, which he originally worked for. and then ended up buying. And matter of fact, they moved
You were
that.
you were telling me about Mossman guitars, and a lot of big
Yes,
names have played Mossman guitars.
yeah. The last Mossman guitar I saw for sale on Reverb was on sale for about $69,000. So
Oh wow!
this is a boutique builder that is quite killer when it comes to building. Now, I can't imagine ever paying that kind of money for a guitar, but
No way.
it just gives you an idea of the weight that that name carries. And of course, now,
Yes, and the quality of work obviously must be
yes, sir.
phenomenal if yeah people are willing to pay to pay that. But yeah, phenomenal. I mean, you know yourself how these can how guitars can go up and up and up in value,
Yes,
um, and especially if they're vintage, but also especially if they've been worked on. And as you said, you know, to change the bracing inside and to take it from a Steers and Roebuck sound into something, you know, as you said, 40, 50-year-old wood that suddenly is a canon.
yes.
It takes some skill, I think, to do that.
It does. It does. And from there, that's really what started, because I wasn't doing YouTube when I had this. When I started with this fascination with fingerstyle, I used YouTube to figure out how to do it, because thank God we've got
Yeah,
YouTube now, right? And
it's
so
great. Yeah,
yeah, I was able to learn the basics of fingerstyle, and I thought, I think I can. I kind of do this sort of thing for a living in a different profession. Why don't I just take those skills and apply them here and help people? During this whole virus thing, people were at home and more guitars were sold than ever in history. And I thought, well, those people are probably sitting around with a guitar that they're having a hard time learning how to play. Let's see if we can help them do something productive with it, because as you
yeah,
yourself know, you don't have to be a professional musician to play guitar. It's a great tool to have in your hands personally, even if nobody ever hears you, you hear you, right? Very
yes.
soothing, very therapeutic would be a good word.
Therapeutic, actually. Yes, yeah, indeed, it is. Which is what I would say to my beginner guitar students as well. Um, very very much so, cathartic and therapeutic, and just something, you know, to play, whether you're a singer or not, but just something to have something to noodle on and have fun with. It's a great gift. I want to say hello to Stephen, by the way, our
Hey,
neighbor
Steve.
Stephen, the good mojo. He's a good,
Yeah,
we call him the good mojo, and he very interesting, also a guitar repairer and
yeah. Seen Stephen on before, and we've
well,
actually
I think
spoken in
that,
chat.
yeah.
Good guy.
this the this stream is doing weird things here. I don't know if we're breaking up. I think we're back. I think we're back. I hope we're back.
Good.
It's weird. Yeah, you never know these things. But
No,
so apart from the guitar stuff, Randy, on your channel, which is great. You talk about there's Rebbe Jack. I don't. You talk
hey,
about
Jack.
your great collection, and you talk about your guitars. You also, from time to time, then you do a thing called featured, where you feature 3 or 4 videos of different singer songwriters mainly. What? Tell us a little bit about that, if you would.
Well, I had gotten in touch, listening to other videos. I had run into some folks like, and I'm going to name a few of them. Trevor Hansberry, who is become very close to me on YouTube. I love that guy. He's located in Ireland, Southern Ireland, I believe. And then Donna Dunn, who's over in Dublin, who I love dearly. And Matt and Sophie with the Distance over in Manchester, England. I got to know these folks. Aaron English, who I met on your channel,
Yeah,
who I think is a wonderful, wonderful man and a talented
he
musician.
is
But I got
100%.
to where
Yeah,
I was talking to them quite often, and I thought, you know what? Some of these folks don't have thousands of people subscribe to their channel, and but even if they do, they're to me, it's important if you're on YouTube, you should be responding to the people who are on your team, if that makes sense. And
exactly.
when I see channels where I don't see that, it disappoints me. And it's one of the things that drew me to Aaron. It's one of the things that drew me to Donna. It's one of the things that drew me to Trevor. was every time I left a comment, they responded back. They were very, very kind. And so I thought, what can I do, Dahi? What can I do to help further these people and what they're trying to do? Because look, I'm set. I've had a great life. If it was over tomorrow, I'm very happy. I can't believe God's left me on this planet this long, and I'm happy about it. But if I'm gone tomorrow, uh, I I would like to help some folks kind of make their mark, especially those that are trying to do this professionally. And so I started this feature, and I tried to go find what I thought was extraordinary talent or potential. So I had one featured video I did where it's more potential than talent, but I
Okay.
tried to do mostly really, really well, super talented people that I have personally talked to. If I haven't talked to them, I'm not featuring them. So that's
Right.
another thing. If I've gotten to know them, I will. So I'm glad you brought that up because forget my trying to teach people how to do fingerstyle. That to me, I love doing those featured sessions because it's not about me, it's about them.
Lost you there a little bit. Sorry. Hang on a second. You have a question. As you were saying, but it was the guitar teaching stuff that sort of that's how the channel began. But it has gone a slightly a different direction, I guess. And one of those directions is your feature thing. It's a version. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And that and the guitar reviews, the reviews are probably about the most popular thing you can do. Uh, and while I enjoy popular, uh, it's part of it, but it's not the whole pie. The whole pie to me is getting a few people who were scared of fingerstyle to learn how to do fingerstyle, and then
Mm,
taking these phenomenal people that you've helped introduce me to, and trying to further their music out in the music world because I just love these folks that I mentioned to you. They, Matt and Sophie with the distance. It's funny because I was at the University of Manchester not long ago, a couple of years ago. I did not know about them at that time, and I could kick myself because I may never be back there. Right. So I'm missing
yes.
my opportunity to hug their necks in person, which is kind of
Yeah.
important, right? But wonderful people. Same with all the others.
Yeah. Absolutely. And wonderful. And kudos to you, sir, for trying to get those great songs and great artists out there. Like I said, it's YouTube's a tough world. I realize that myself. From the beginning, if you're not working your channel all the time, and some of these artists aren't either. You were saying about being responsive, but it's a different world. I mean, things like Facebook have taken over and that, and people kind of gravitate towards the Facebook, Instagram thing. But some of the artists may not respond, or you say, are kind of shy about responding. But they're not all checking YouTube all the time, and it's a different world sometimes for them.
Yeah.
So you're not, this is why a lot of them don't have a lot of subscribers. They're not pushing their channels like you and I are. I mean, I'm on here all the time doing streaming and stuff, and that's the kind of work it takes. I
Yeah.
realize that now to get subscribers, to get people, and to get a community going, as you are and as I am. And people I suppose don't see that. It takes work. It takes work. It takes sitting down, making the content, doing the videos, doing the interviews, doing whatever we're
Yeah, same here. And yeah, some very, very wonderful people. And there probably does come a time when people get so busy that if they sit and try to respond to every comment, but by that point, I'm probably not featuring them because they're well on their way, right? And therein lies the difference, I think. If and I get it because if you were, say, Vince Gill, and you tried to respond to everybody that left a message on one of your videos, you would never get out of the house, Yeah. Yeah. Uh, think of Aaron English's "Wingless Bird." You've heard that song, right? It is. Oh, it's incredibly an absolute work of art. Very a very a story with a life lesson. Okay, and that's what that song is, with a painted picture. That man has the right people around him from a talent standpoint, because that was so well done. Those kinds of things. That and I love to hear a little winging it in music. You know what I mean? Kind of like when actors, I guess, call this what is that word that they use? I can't think of it. Ad lib. When they're just ad libbing something, right? And if I hear a musician doing that, and it is, it's something that's coming from within them, and they're getting it out, and it actually is working. I get drawn to that kind of thing, and it's what drew me to Trevor. It's what drew me to Matt and Sophie. The arrangements that they put on some of these covers are just unbelievable. You know, so yeah, it's a variety of things, I'd say. I do. Yeah, as you know, and we talked about some years ago, I left a job. I had been working for a company for quite a long while, and there was an Irishman that had bought a technology, and it ended up developing it further. Okay, and so the headquarters for the place was actually in Lisburn, Ireland, which
Oh
is
yeah,
just south of Belfast, right?
sure.
And still is there to this day, and I still work for them. It's just that they were acquired by another company that I now work for. So uh, through that, I met some of the most wonderful people in my life, and they have become like brothers and sisters to me. And of course, I love it. When I go, I normally stay there in Belfast, at downtown there at that Hilton in Belfast,
Yeah,
and they treat me like gold. And of course, everybody does in Ireland, whether I'm in Dublin or Belfast, doesn't make any difference. People are just
sure.
very kind and nice, and of course, they love the South, especially Texas. I think they think we all have thousands of heads of cattle on our property.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but but no, wonderful people, and yeah, I have ties to Ireland that will never go away. Yes, sir.
Well, I hope you'll get back there soon. And if you're ever out this way as well, if you get close to Belgium, Randy, you'd be always come in and try some of my guitars. You can review them here on the channel. You'll be more than welcome.
You'll be the first person I come see, Dave. You can believe that.
Thank you very much. We had a few connection issues, but I think the audio was good. I hope it was.
Good.
It's been a pleasure talking to you here on the channel tonight, Randy. Thank you so much for taking the time out.
Thank you, and thanks to everybody that came while we were live. I really do appreciate it. YouTube's a wonderful
Yeah,
community. I'll always be a part. I hope.
it is, and I will, as I said, Randy's rhythm will be linked in the info section below, folks. So hopefully, some of my peeps will come over and give you a sub and watch your great content.
Yes, sir.
Thanks to all the live chatters who came in there: John Wood, Kim, Stephen, David, Jack. I think I didn't miss anybody. I'm not sure. Excuse me if I did. But Randy's Rhythm is the channel. Randy Cox, I much appreciate you chatting, and thank you for all your wonderful videos. Thank you for everything you do for the YouTube community and for the songwriting community. And
Right.
we'll see each other down the road, maybe in Texas.
I hope so. If you get here, you got a place. I've got a bedroom. You got your own place.
Look, all right. All my exes are from Texas.
Yeah, mine are too, but my wife's in there.
Say nothing. Take care of yourself, Randy. We shall see each other somewhere over the rainbow.
Yes, sir.
Happy New Year to you and yours.
You as well. Bye-bye.
All the best, Randy. Thank you.
You bet.
Hey, folks. Randy Cox is the man's name. Randy's Rhythm is the YouTube channel where he talks about his wonderful vintage guitar collection. Check out his channel. He does a thing called Featured, where he puts a few featured videos of singer-songwriters up there as well that you may enjoy. Thank you all for being here. Don't forget, every Monday night is the Songwriter Show here on the channel. These Two Heads, One Heart things are sporadic. I don't know when they happen, but keep an eye on the social media and you will be notified. Follow me at the Ruhr Room on Instagram and Facebook. You'll find me there. But otherwise, I'll see you this Monday night, 8 o'clock on the Songs from the Ruhr Room here. And it is my Songwriter Show. And that's every Monday at 8 p.m. Central European Time. Thanks very much once again to the great Randy Cox. He's doing great work over there on his YouTube channel. Give him a few subs. He needs a few more subscribers than he has. It would be good if you could do that. Take care of yourselves. Check out a couple more videos on this channel. And there's several more of these small interviews with great people on here as well. And I'll see you on the next one. Good luck and thank you for being here. Bye.